DanceMotion USA is one of our most important public diplomacy programs. It's actually diplomatic dancers in action.
90% of this program is about a process of individual American dancers holding a workshop, a master class, and the resources of what that community has for the program.
What's really remarkable about DanceMotion USA is the way that people connect. It is a profound and strong connection between the American dancers and everyone they encounter. The youth, other dancers from local companies, every single person in every dance company has really talked about the way that they feel connecting directly through this program.
In 2012, we looked to make DanceMotion USA's social media presence more robust. We did that by equipping the companies with blog support, with HD cameras so they could capture images of what they were going through, and also we encouraged them to share their stories, to tell us what it was like for them to be in a different country teaching dance classes, so that the folks back home could see what they were experiencing in real time. Despite some of the challenges that the companies faced, power outages, lack of internet access, the fact that some of the social media sites weren't available in the countries they visited, they were still able to give us some deep insights into their life on tour.
Think of this as people-to-people engagement for mutual understanding. We want audiences, more importantly communities and people around the world to know America, who we are, what our values are, what we stand for, and what we believe is important.
Truly what sets this apart from other cultural exchange programs is the fact that it's dance. There's something in particular about being able to communicate in a way that's nonverbal, especially when there is a language barrier, that very quickly gets to a shared human experience.
Another important aspect is that the American dancers who go abroad have an experience of the local culture. We see traditional folk dance, experience music from the different countries, so there's a sense that we take something away. It is really a cultural exchange.
What I love about this project is that DanceMotion USA wants to connect artist to artist in dance. It makes the whole cultural exchange richer, deeper, more immediate, very fulfilling, fabulous.
I felt like when we were teaching, we were engaged, that we were confirming what is within that moment. And that's what makes it different from all the other programs, that we were confirming it and taking action to make a change.
Jazz tap Lynn Dowley went to Africa. Two American idioms, jazz and tap, together is her aesthetic. Rhythm is fundamentally African in terms of the use of the drum and their movement. And so I knew on that aesthetic plane that she would be able to do her work with her company.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3. All right, here we go.
Jazz Tap Ensemble went to 4 cities in Africa. A typical day always had some emotional involvement because the exchanges were so rich and they were active. They were all about dancing and making music. The dancers were incredible. Each of them had ways of representing their country. For example, in Congo, we are having our first exchange with the national company, and we're seeing tribal dances for the first time. So there were many things in the life of each city that were astounding in their different ways. We worked for 4 days in a row in special workshops with 25 dancers and 15 musicians. And our dancers worked with the dancers and taught them basic elements of the shim-sham, which is the hello dance of tap dancing. And our musicians worked with 15 musicians who showed up the first day with a variety of instruments, and they wanted to know more about jazz music. So it was a really good exchange where our musicians were able to work with them, and we incorporated all this into the final presentation at the end of the week. So the concert in Kinshasa ended with this giant production number, which included the 15 Congolese musicians who came up on stage and joined our musicians trio. And then on came the dancers, as led by our 4 company members, until everyone was assembled. And then we had this giant shim-sham, which opened up in the middle of the dance for the Congolese dancers to do their choreography in their tap shoes that they had created in the course of the workshop. It was a really wonderful cultural exchange. Everyone brought something and everyone got something.
What's unique about Sean is that he began his artistic career with traditional Irish dance, and his visit, which is situated in traditional dance, I knew that he would have a point of view, a sensitivity to tradition.
We visited 3 countries, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan, and the Kyrgyz Republic. A big part of preparing to go on the road was deciding what dances I would take. I wanted to take a program that represented us well. I took 3 very different dances. A dance called Metal Garden, about a peaceful, loving community of couples. A dance called Hard Bargain, which is danced to opera arias by Handel, about behavior, about how we deal with each other, confront each other. It really is a dance about diplomacy. And I took a dance called Social Discourse, which is an urban contemporary folk dance. Unique, authentic individuals working together, collaborating, letting each other lead in a wonderful, energetic, virtuosic, and athletic way. The dancers knew the schedule was going to be grueling, so we were all pretty psychically and physically prepared. The schedule involved teaching classes, rehearsing, lots of opening nights. So the dancers went in it as, athletes in a way, and were excited and I think invigorated by each place we went to, and really inspired by the people we met in the classes. One of the revelations I had, being a choreographer, being a dancer there, was when I taught a class in Turkmenistan, and one of the dancers explained that their experience as dancers is just in folk forms. They learn traditional dances that have been handed down. It's a beautiful thing, it's a wonderful thing, but they only learn a few of them, and they do them all the time, over and over and over again. They love their dance lives, they love the dances they do, but for us to come and teach something new, that's different, that's fresh, I think inspired and excited these dancers. And in the world now, as it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, I said, well, go to YouTube, do some research, make your own dance, make something out of nothing, do it as an artist, do it as a choreographer, be authentic, be unique, and make something yourself. The most memorable experience for me happened in the last city of Bishkek, which is in Kyrgyz Republic. We had spent 3.5 weeks teaching classes, doing shows, really doing the job, the work of the outreach, when we were invited to a private concert organized for us by a group called Ustad Shakirt. This was a young group of traditional musicians trying to keep what's called mountain music alive in Kyrgyz Republic. And it was a wonderful, unusual, strange brand of music that we'd never heard before, that somehow was strangely moving, oddly compelling. It left a few of us in tears. It was a real gift.
Rennie Harris, Pure Movement, based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Group of African-American hip-hop artists who are athletic, youthful, And having traveled through Egypt and Israel, I knew that Rennie, with his athleticism and energy and infectious commitment, that he was going to be able to win them all over.
Hip-hop really gets you through a lot of doors in the Middle East.
They were very excited to learn hip-hop from an American company. Certain places, they were just getting started, like in Nablus, some of the refugee camps. They were 2 or 3 years in. They were very excited to be able to see it, to be able to get it firsthand, to hear as much about the culture as possible that they could understand, and then to engage in it. And then places like in Israel, they were already up to speed, so to speak, because there's more traffic between the States and Israel.
When we got there, they already knew who we were.
Your technique?
Yes.
Damn, man, I know you. We study you, man. We study you on YouTube.
Thank you. They knew who everybody was because they did their homework and they have been following the company for a very long time.
We were having a cultural exchange by just from being present. Mostly it was us teaching the class, and then once in a while the students would say, hey, can we show you what we do? A lot of the cultural exchange was just a conversation about what we do in hip-hop here and what they do in hip-hop there.
And they email us every day. They Facebook us every day. A lot of their friends who didn't have a chance to meet us asked us to send them information on where they can go and research and books that they can read to know more about the culture of hip-hop, how it started, how the young kids from the Bronx started to step up and wanted their voice to be heard.
The role of hip-hop in the life of a kid from the Middle East, I would say is liberating for them because it's allowing them to express what they need to express and to say what they need to say.
One thing that really got me was, and I really felt good about this, was the kids from Palestine. We asked them what will be the #1 dream, and they said to actually dance and communicate with the Israeli kids.
I remember doing what I do before it was called hip-hop in the 80s, and we were teenagers in the 70s. And so to watch it move from this small radius, this small community, and to see it go global, and a whole different culture, that's amazing to me.
I knew that pure form would work very, very well with Trey and his company traveling through multiple Asian cultures.
The biggest thing that I did to prepare was to really spend time with the dancers, kind of working through what it meant to be doing this, to understand the value and the visibility of it, to really truly understand that at every moment in time, whether or not we're standing in the airport or in the middle of a workshop, we're ambassadors of our country. And to realize what a great opportunity that is to show the best of what we are. For the tour, we had a wide range of pieces to be able to present in different situations. We brought 3 clearly performative pieces that belong in a theater. But we probably had a stable of 15 other dances that maybe would be appropriate to do in the street or to be able to adapt to whatever situation we were in would seem most appropriate.
We spent numerous weeks working on the repertoire for stage, but we spent also just as much time preparing these other little pieces of Trey's choreography that we could take into these varied settings.
We really had to think on our feet for every interaction that we had. One really fantastic example of that was when we were in Vietnam and we went to the Social Services Center for the Disabled. It's called the Life is Beautiful Clubhouse. When we first showed up, the members there had a dance prepared for us, and then we performed for them. And then we had everybody get up and we taught everyone how to do the twist and how to do the hand jive. And it actually ended up being one of the best interactions we had on the entire tour. And it just turned into a big free-for-all dance party in the end.
Attached to the 2012 tours, there was a pilot initiative, a US-based residency, where Trey McIntyre's company was to choose a company in Asia to bring back to Boise for a 3-week residency, culminating in a 1-week residency at BAM.
My original intent with choosing a company was to find a traditional ethnic dance company, and I saw a lot. It's not what I ended up in my choice. I actually ended up choosing the Korean, their national modern dance company, which is probably the most similar to our company out of anyone that I had seen. I just felt so like-minded with this group of people and felt like if this is an extension of the ambassadorial function of what we're doing, it makes a lot of sense to expand upon a relationship that seems like we've found some similarities already.
Even though our company is new, only 2 years old, the level of skills is very superb, and Trey saw that quality, and I think that's why he chose us.
The BAM residency is actually very similar to the tours. Usually dancers have a company class or some sort of warm-up that they do every day. It's a part of a dancer's discipline. And then we have outreach activities to schools. There are master classes that are taking place. After one of the performances, we'll have a question and answer period. And then we've actually been tying in a few things outside of the company's participation. We have a distance learning initiative where on one evening we had a master teacher from Korea teach a group of students in Brooklyn a Korean traditional dance. And then we're going to do a similar thing in the post-performance discussion in that we're going to allow a Korean audience to watch a performance and then take part in the question and answer period afterwards.
What I am hoping for is a really shared dance experience, that we will see cultural difference, but then you'll see the commonality, which is bodies moving in time and space within a physical environment.
We're thrilled that the State Department has embraced this and understands what a powerful tool this kind of cultural diplomacy can be.
I do believe that everybody had their eyes opened. There was such a passion for dance and a certain kind of aliveness that I've not experienced before. It was vital to the people that we got to work with that they do what they do, and they do it every day, no matter what they encounter that would prevent them.
I think the conversations and what comes out of those engagements are lifelong friendships and a change of attitudes of what people thought before the contemporary dance companies went into a community.
It was really interesting, I think, that we both realized that really we weren't that different.
It lets artists do our jobs, and it lets art do its job in terms of bringing us together. It made me happy to be American. It made me proud to be an artist. It made me happy to be a student again.
To have a group of dancers go into a room where you can just move and get to something that's a little bit more primal and universal, you'd see the walls break down almost immediately. The understanding that moved in both directions, it was palpable. I know from this tour, we changed people's impressions and really, walked away giving a great impression of what it is to meet an American.
A program like this doesn't happen without incredible support, and we have been very fortunate that incredible support has come our way. And I'd like to acknowledge those donors and recognize them for standing up for this program and for believing in it. First and foremost, of course, is the U.S. Department of State and the Bureau of Education and Cultural Affairs. And then there are our private sector partners who have been absolutely amazing. J.P. Morgan Chase, Pfizer, and the visionary funder Robert Sterling Clark Foundation, who through its leader Margaret Ayers have been one of the strongest foundations in the United States working in the area of cultural diplomacy. And we've been very fortunate to have their leadership support. I also want to mention the 13 embassies and consulates who've worked with us and all the Foreign Service officers whose work and energy have contributed to this program. I'd like to thank all of our cultural partners in country and everybody who's really been a part of this remarkable adventure.